in a new area
A new environment. Well,
that is not stocked whatsoever.
well, it's not. It's new for you. Me and Jeremiah have been here. This has been our working studio for a few sessions now.
And yet there's no
Yeah.
drinks.
No drinks for you. There are drinks.
Yeah, you guys both have drinks in your hand.
By the way, how am I supposed to open this on?
So yeah, it's fine.
Open
we're
it right in the
probably-
mic. It's AMSR. AMSR.
ASMR.
AMSR.
But
Asthma?
don't worry. But just be careful
I
not to
don't wanna-
spill. My most important thing is don't spill.
It's
I don't
soda
wanna-
water.
I don't care about making noise. I
it's
still don't
soda
want.
water. Therefore, it doesn't matter.
It's used as a cleaning product. Soap
Yeah.
soda is literally used to clean.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I still
brother.
don't want him to spill it. I mean, these couches are not really made to be getting super wet.
Were these
Wait,
couches
you want
an
some?
inheritance?
You want some ass?
No,
spray,
these
bro?
couches were a used furniture store.
And you picked these ones.
I like them.
Really?
I really like them.
That's so crazy.
Why don't you like them?
They feel like old people couches.
I'm an old person.
You
I
picked out these couches, huh?
well, I picked them out. Partially they were cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Partially they're good quality. Partially I think that they matched the aesthetic. This space has an old aesthetic already.
Well, I don't think it has an old aesthetic.
The paint on the cupboards are pretty old. I think the backsplash isn't that old. The countertops are a
It's
bit
not
old.
super modern, but it looks modern enough. Like
Yeah.
these couches and that lamp stand out like
That,
crazy.
okay, no, that lamp is a piece of shit.
Yeah, but that lamp looks like it fits in with these couches.
I know, but my view is like I can have like an old piece of furniture without making the whole space look like it's for an old person. But if I have that hideous lamp that my parents are really doing their best to like foist off their old garbage onto me because they're like, okay, we don't want it, so therefore the kids want it. But it's annoying because every time I ask for a piece of furniture, my dad goes, "But what if I want it someday?"
It looks like you went to buy this couch and they're like, take this lamp for your travels.
Yeah, it very much suits the vibe, but my number one goal is to like have this object be like the only what I would refer to as like old school glam in the space.
But it's not. I'm back from LA. I'm just gonna
It's fine.
embrace the American attitude and be mean and rude. It's not even like a nice old. Maybe the issue is I'm not seeing it together.
Yeah,
We have a 3-piece couch ripped apart right now.
yeah, so we can look at each other while we're recording.
We're all members of our own island.
Yes, we are.
Welcome to the Errata Sound podcast. I'm comfy.
Man, Jeremiah beat us to it this time. I like that it's a race every episode.
Are we locking in then? Should we actually introduce ourselves? Because people may have forgotten who you are by this time.
We have listeners.
Yeah, we have Julian's gonna listen.
That's
That's
good.
true. We have 2 new listeners now. I met them in LA. Well,
Oh, yeah.
I saw them in LA.
I hate to tell you, bro. They just said that they're gonna listen to the podcast.
Yeah,
they're not actually gonna go listen to it.
No, okay.
It's a lot of hours.
I'll introduce myself. I'm Noah. I've been away for 2 episodes, but I'm back
See,
now.
this is an intro episode, so you got to give us like a taste of like who you are. Like, you know, like are you Flirty Spice? Are you Sexy Spice? Are you Baby Spice? Where are you?
I feel like I used to be Flirty Spice, but now I'm engaged. Now
Oh.
I'm Boring
Now you're
Spice.
Spooky Spice.
What are you
Now-
engaged in?
Digimon.
That's good.
Why is this an intro episode?
Well, because we're gonna get new listeners from Nolan and JB.
Well, listeners, you've got Noah here. I am a founding member of Verata Sonata.
Like we're an empire. Like we're like it's been slowly transitioning hands.
Well, it feels that way.
Have you felt outcast? Have you felt like you've been removed from the High Council?
No, it feels weird. It doesn't even feel like I missed 3 weeks of podcasting.
Yeah, but I think only 2 episodes that are
Only
launching.
2 episodes, but I've missed 3 weeks. It does feel like it's been a while, but it's flown by. Obviously, I was getting ready for nationals.
Yeah.
And then nationals happened, and time has just been moving at an insane pace.
Yeah.
So I don't really feel outcast. I feel bad for Julian. Feels like he's carved himself out a seat here, and now he's just gone.
It's okay. One of you guys is not going to be willing to make the drive to me, and then he'll have to step in again.
Yeah, probably.
Me.
Or hear me out. We overthrow Ian, and he can just drive to us because we're in the same area. Why are you guys so sad? Talk to me.
What do you mean sad?
Everyone's bummed out. I walked into this brand new housing unit, this living quarters.
Sure.
We've all got our own couch. We all have our own microphone.
We're socially distanced.
Yeah, it feels great. Why? Where's the vibe at?
Where's
Let's
the
do
vibe
a
at?
mood check.
I think. Well, so I was saying this to Jeremiah before that I had an issue today. That I had an issue that has spoiled my mood. and I've learned I have a hatred for a certain group of person, for a certain community.
Me.
No, pregnant women.
Oh no.
I went swimming today, and at the pool, every lane was full. So I got there, I was like, every lane is full. My pool usually, every lane is empty. I'm like, I gotta join someone. I went over to this lady. I said, "Can I hop in the lane with you?" And she said, "Sorry, I'm too pregnant."
There's already 2 people in this lane.
That's what she said. She said, "There's 2 people in this lane." She said, "There's no room for you." She said, "Go to his lane." She pointed to another guy because there's only one person in his lane. There's 2 people in this lane already.
Why did you start with the pregnant woman?
She didn't look that pregnant.
Okay.
She looked not pregnant at all.
Dude, she said
Let
she
alone-
was-
should have said
no,
that.
I said 2 pregnant. I said you look barely pregnant.
You said that?
No, I wish I.
Oh, you should have said something, and then maybe she would have been so flattered she would have let you swim with her.
No, she was like, she was speaking in pluralities. She said we have 2 laps left.
How old is she?
Probably 40. Yeah,
Already in a pool,
yeah.
and you're not in the pool,
And she had a rookie in racing.
and you asked to swim with her. She thought you were trying to pick her up. and
I
she
was not
like,
trying to pick her up.
she's like, "No, I'm
she's at a
pregnant."
gym. She's at a gym and she's using a piece of equipment, which is the lane.
The
And
lane.
I said, "This lane has room for 2 people in it." And she said, "No, there's 2 people already in here."
Do you call the pool a piece of equipment?
I just don't think it's that controversial of a thing to say. It's equivalent to a piece of
I
equipment.
think it's controversial to approach a woman
Ever,
at
period.
the gym in this day and age.
No, it's not. Wait, hold on. You thought it would have been more appropriate. There was a fat bald guy beside her. You think I said, what if he was pregnant?
No, I just think there's a like,
It all depends on who's pregnant.
I think there's like a lot of gotchas going on online. of
Yeah,
women,
like Gotcha Green.
Yeah, came top 64 at nationals.
So did Bagramon.
Yeah, Baggerman came 17th.
No
Baggerman
way,
came
Baggermon got 17th
Seven.
place.
17, barely out of top 16. It's kind of wild because the list did not look good.
You know what's upsetting to me? Is me and him, well, I don't know. Me and the Bagramon player lost in the same round. And they got as high as possible, and I got as low as possible.
Within that round.
Yeah, I came 32nd, and they came 17th. So day 1 of nationals,
Yeah.
as it came to a close, and we were discussing who made top 64. Obviously, we were talking about Bagramon and Gotcha Green. And is Heavy Leomon that good that it can make Gotcha Green relevant?
Heavy Leomon. I don't even remember what Heavy Leomon does.
Oh, he's got Fortitude.
Fortitude is when would be deleted. Play yourself back out if you had sources.
Right. He's a good green mega, and he's green black, so Quartzmon.
I mean, I think the number one thing is just that any deck, if matchups are lucky and high rolls, could top at Nats. So I do think that having like one deck of representation is only so indicative of like a deck's performance.
I agree, and not that I don't think that the pilots weren't skilled,
You're gonna go in on them.
but it does irk me a little bit when people say, "Oh, like a proper pilot can win with any deck," or they're so good at the game that they topped with Bagra Army.
Yeah.
Not that I don't think they're good, but again, one singular deck being at the top, or even one singular placement, doesn't mean that you're great. at the
No,
game. And I'm not trying to say, like, I'm not trying to diminish.
no, it's
These-
not about diminishing. It's about just sort of recognizing that. I mean, we talked about this before, that there's only so much agency that the pilot has over the deck.
Yes, let's recognize that because Bagramon topped doesn't mean it's a tier 1, tier 2 deck.
Yeah.
Let's recognize that because I did well at a tournament once, I royally, doesn't mean that I'm an amazing Digimon player.
Sure.
Right? Just because something happens once. Now, once you start backing it up, once we start seeing Bagra Army top multiple tournaments,
Yeah, multiple tournaments, multiple pilots.
Then we can have a
a
conversation.
range of matchups. Yeah, like that's when you start to talk about. I will just say, looking at that Bagra Army list, shocking. The first appearance of Darkness Bagramon I've seen in my life. I cannot imagine that card having relevance.
Ian's stocks are going way up. Looking at his 50 Darkness Bagramon, like, I'm about to get some change here.
Dude, that's that cheddar. I can't wait to bounce my own tamers to hand.
I don't understand. I don't understand how it did well. But that's matchup roulette, right? Like sometimes you just dodge all your bad matchups.
Yeah.
I really think that on day 2 of Nationals, if I dodged the security control players, because all the hunters were out at this point, if there was 3 security control players, and if I dodged them, I think I had a really good shot.
Actually, this is actually exactly what I really wanted to sauce up and get into is Noah. Like, take us through the arc. What happened at Nationals? Like, what were the matchups like? What was the venue like? What was preparation like? Because this is firsthand information now.
Yes, because I guess preparation should have been done in January.
It's almost as if we prepared an episode for it and then you didn't show up for the recording.
Well, I was busy preparing for Nationals, and recording an episode was not on my list of preparation. To be honest, I'll start right off the bat.
Yeah.
Part of the reason I stopped coming out to recording, I had a conversation with you, and I said I feel like I've been slacking. Nationals is right around the corner, and I have not been doing enough for it. And now I need to try and put in the effort. And at the end of the day, trying to shove in months worth of playtesting that should have been spread out over that time into 1 month or 3 weeks is not going to give you the same result. And you don't have the time for it. I am disappointed in my preparation for Nationals.
Because you felt like you needed to put the time in if you want to have results.
Yes. But not even entirely that. I think that I got the message pretty quickly that I wanted to get, which was, what deck do I want to play for Nationals?
Because you abandoned Anubis pretty late.
Probably a week before Nationals, I abandoned Anubis.
Yeah, that's like, I would say that's pretty late in the process to switch decks for the biggest tournament you're going to go to in the year.
I felt risky about it, but I was also switching decks to a deck that I was more comfortable. Like, I had been playing for most of BT14. Now, BT14 hasn't been out for that long, but I played a lot of Mirage going into BT14.
Yeah, Mirage was your definitive deck for a while.
Yeah. And in BT, leading up to BT13, I had max rarity the deck because I was getting prepared for it.
Yeah.
And then even in BT13, I didn't play it. The deck just wasn't quite there yet for me. And now BT14 is when it had all the pieces that I wanted, and I could finally enjoy the deck.
Yeah.
And then I was not wanting to play it for Nationals because obviously Anubis being the big boogeyman, Anubis being the best deck in the format, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It was very good. But it wasn't good for me. And so I played in a couple online tournaments, and I realized that it just did not mesh well with me. I think one of my bigger problems was the fact that I felt that I couldn't do well against red hybrids unless I drew very well. And red hybrids is such a popular deck for newer players, and I think the skill floor is low. That being said, I think the skill floor ceiling is higher than the skill floor, obviously, but it's just it's an easy deck to pick up and play, right?
Yeah.
Hunters, if you give a new player a Hunters deck, there's so much for them to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about before me spending 5 minutes and raising with a Hunter's deck on my first time. I think that there's a lot of decisions to be made on every turn. And like with purple decks, decisions that you set up in the beginning of the game could affect you for the rest of the match.
Right. I ended up switching a week before Nationals to Mirage,
Yeah.
and I felt good about it.
Yeah,
I
you
felt
seemed
very
pretty. You seemed happier as a person once you abandoned Anubis.
Yeah, I felt a lot better about it. Let alone the fact that I still needed to track down 2 more Anubis. And our local store was charging $18 for a copy for them, which
That's
is
very
not worth it.
specific.
I think they're going
For a card that's about to be banned.
I think it's $1 on TCG Player right now.
Yeah.
Wait, seriously?
I
it's
think
a dollar and they were selling it at
it's a
18.
limited card, dude. It's not gonna last very long.
I totally forgot that Anubis is just on death in 3 weeks.
yeah.
Your days
well,
are numbered, buddy.
1 month. 1 month.
1 month.
Wow, that's so quick.
Yeah.
March
That's
1st.
really fast.
So that's why I haven't bought any EX5 product, and I'm like, I don't think I really will. I'll buy some singles if I want to build like some decks from it, but like, what am I gonna be pulling and being excited about?
Leviathan.
Leviamon and Leopardmon X. That's about it.
Azulongmon is very cool.
I don't know if I'm that excited about building like a
I just
dedicated
want it for
Devas.
security control.
Devas, I saw so much Devas at Nationals. I was surprised. I saw a lot of Metal Edamon too.
Do you think it's good? The Eva
Devas.
deck? The David deck.
I think no, I don't think it's good. I think
Yeah, I
it can threaten a lot of people, a lot of decks. But I think the decks that Devas are threatening are not decks that would be able to stand up to most decks.
Because it has to give their opponent so much memory to like get its game plan started.
It's not even that. It's if you give your opponent a bunch of memory, against some decks that I don't think belong in the format, like some rookie rush decks, or I can't think of an example. Maybe my Otismon. Like some
Sure.
decks just can't compete against it. But any deck that has the grit to compete can deal with Devas pretty well, I think.
Yeah.
Um, there was a lot of decks. Now this is during my 2-round buy, so I was just looking around. So this is where you're gonna get the most variance in the tournament.
Yeah, because everyone is there.
Yep.
And you've filtered out the bad players that went 0-3 and left.
Yeah, me last year. But back to it. I decided on Mirage. I still brought Anubis.
Yep.
I also brought Beelzemon. I was very nervous about picking the right deck. I wanted to feel good about my deck choice because I didn't feel good about it last year. I brought Blackmore Greymon X last year, and I wish I brought Murva Cross.
Yeah.
But that was hindsight. That was after the fact that I kind of really liked the deck. But I felt good about my deck this year. Showed up. I was making sure to get lots of sleep. I was hydrating. We had some locals come with me, which was cool. I'm not a big fan of airplanes, so that was cool.
Yeah.
Luckily, I slept almost the whole way, both ways, which was very nice.
How long's the flight?
4.5 hours.
That's not too bad.
No, it's not.
I think you're missing the meat of this scenario, because what I want to hear, you walk in the venue, you have the scent, the musk of 400 stinky Digimon players,
Well, I'm getting
and
there.
all the 1,000 unwashed One Piece players. They're afraid of the ocean. They're worried they'll drown, so they never bathe.
We're in LA. It's 25 degrees. I love it.
Yeah.
We pull up to the venue,
Yeah, you gum right over.
the crypto arena.
I think the crypto arena.
Yeah, it used
Did
to be
you-
the Staples Center. Now
Did
it's
you buy any Bitcoin while you were there?
No, although Eric did. Did you hear?
No, did he?
He got a Tesla. He's been Bitcoin mining.
Are you serious?
His Instagram's been hacked. Yeah,
Okay.
so people keep calling me and texting me, telling me, "Hey, what's going on?" And I'm like, "He was hacked. Do not click the link and do not decide to start Bitcoin mining."
All right. So yeah, you pulled up to the Bitcoin mine.
And there was a lot of people, and then they started separating them into lines. So I was like, okay, this is better. Digimon line, long, but
Yeah.
I was about midway through it. Battle Spirits line, I think I saw 12 people.
Go.
Let's go, Saga.
One Piece line, they started wrapping around the block.
Yeah.
I could not see the end of it. I think the line in total probably had about 3,000 people.
Why do you think that is?
One Piece is a very popular,
IP.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
It's a worldwide popular. Remember, Digimon's like mostly Japan popular.
and the cards are worth a lot of money.
Really?
And
But
it
what do you
was
think of the
so
game?
annoying because One Piece players are trying to hustle you. They're coming up to you saying, "You want to trade this Gear 5 Luffy for your Imperial Dramon Ace?" Or vice versa, whatever. And we say, "No, it's not a very good card. It's worth like $5." And they say, "That's okay. Gear 5 Luffy's worth like nothing too." Meanwhile, every single One Piece player has come up to me to ask for it. I don't think it's worth nothing. No, I haven't seen
One
it.
quick Google search could tell you what it's worth.
Exactly. But I didn't even need to do that. Because looking around, there are no Digimon players walking around saying, "Let's trade my Imperial Dramon Ace for your Luffy." Because we know it's garbage. And if you thought Luffy was garbage, you wouldn't be begging me for it right now.
Yeah.
How do you really feel about Imperial Dramon Ace?
It's bad. It's not good.
It's pretty
Oh,
bad.
okay.
I've been like, I was confused because I saw it in a random deck list the other day that while we were deck testing, right? And I just like looked at it in my hand. I was like, when could I put this down and not feel awful about it?
I came 5th in a tournament with that in my deck.
Really?
2 Imperial Dramon Ace and 2 fighter modes. And every time I would Digivolve in a fighter mode and bounce the Imperial Dramon Ace to hand, the bottom deck their suspended Digimon, I would lose 4 memory.
Yeah.
What,
It did not feel
does
good.
what does the ace do?
On play when Digivolving, suspended Digimon and unsuspended Digimon. And then
Not bad.
when this Digimon becomes suspended, you can play a Digimon with 4 KDP or less, or a Tamer from your hand.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not great.
It's not. Yeah. It's not spectacular.
Trying to think that's kind of spicy in
It's hard
Mega
because I've been
Gargomon.
wanting a way to cheat out Tamers for so long in blue, and it just does not offer what I wanted.
Dude, you don't want to just go to Beowulfmon and then just blast up and put a tamer on the board again?
No.
Dude, if he has to swing a Beowulf and it doesn't return a hybrid to hand, he doesn't want to swing at all.
Yeah.
Beowulf doesn't gain jamming, does it?
Lanamon games jamming.
Old Beowulf has jamming.
Old Beowulf. Kendo Garurumon gives jamming. The
Yeah.
proper line for Beowulf. If it's on top of Koji.
Dude, Lanamon, so good. I
No.
look at Lanamon. I'm like so excited to have jamming on a hybrid.
Yeah.
No, do you want to tell people what your placement was like? How did you do playing Mirage?
Yeah, I'll get into that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, dude, we're following an arc. We're following
Oh my
a
bad.
journey. Step one, we saw the One Piece players, disgusting, a sea of them, and then we saw the Battle Spirits. We said there's 10 guys in a line playing in a circle, and then now we're getting over to the Digimon players. Hopefully, somewhere in between.
So Saturday morning, we show up, we get inside, and it's cooler than last year because they've really made this an event. I know neither of you were there last year either, but
Yeah.
last year was just they had a section of the venue set aside for artwork. They had Kenji Watanabe there to sign cards and introduce himself to people, and they were showing Digimon Survive. This year it was Digimon and One Piece and Battle Spirits and Union Arena
Yep.
No way.
and another
English
booth.
Union?
Yeah, so they were showing off Union Arena. And it was so many people there. It felt much more like a convention. It was very
Yeah.
exciting.
Well, even last year when you were showing us the pictures of the event, it felt like it was leaning towards a convention.
It
And
was.
I think all major tournaments kind of trend in that direction because Evo and CEO for fighting games have felt like conventions more than they have felt like tournaments for a long time.
Now, the only downside was they did not have vendors there this year. It was all Bandai personnel.
Mhm.
And a lot of hometown homies here wanted me to pick up cards for them while I was there. And there was nowhere to pick them up.
Yeah.
And I, personally, I do not know the art of the deal.
Okay.
I saw people out there with their binders and their calculators trading because there was also there was a rumor that you weren't allowed to buy cards. You
Only
could
trade them, yeah.
So people had their calculators out, and I'm not about that. I can't haggle or hustle with people. Too much for me.
Yeah.
I was also too invested in the tournament. I personally got the first 2 rounds as buys because I came top 16 in a regional.
Yeah.
That was really nice. It was supposed to be an 11 round day, so 11 hours. And the tournament was starting at, I really want to say 9, but it might have been 9:30, sometime around then.
Yeah.
So to have it only be a 9-round tournament as opposed to 11 is very nice.
Yeah.
It only ended up being 10 rounds. Only 8 rounds I had to play. I think we left at 10:30 though.
Although it still took a while.
It was almost a 13-hour day
What the
because there was an issue with the buys in round 1. JB and Nolan both got paired. And I think maybe about 60, 70 other people with buys also got paired.
Oh, because they were like, yeah, probably they treated it weirdly in terms of the numbers. So like,
So then they had to sort that out. And the way they sorted it out was instead of doing a repair, all the people that got paired against people with buys just got a buy. They just reported it as a win.
so it's another round of buy for the people who paired up together.
Right. So then, after round 2, so round 3 comes around, we have to introduce all these players with buys. Got the first 2 round buys.
Yeah.
So we've injected maybe 200 players
Yeah.
undefeated, which is going to add rounds to the tournament.
Yeah.
And the first round of people who all got buys. And they have to sort out the situation where they paired people. It was a mess. Me and JB were waiting in line for maybe an hour, and we did not move. We did not move an inch. And maybe every 20 minutes we'd comment and realize that we're still beside this Angelamon poster. It's so uncomfortable to be beside.
Yeah.
Why is that?
It's so.
She looks like a pregnant woman.
Yeah. And Ian hates them.
I hate them. Taking up all my swim space.
Damn, dude.
So I don't know if I've complained about this to you before, but my absolute worst matchup with Mirage is Hunters.
Okay. Yeah, I
And
think you have mentioned this.
Leading up to the tournament in the deck building channel, I asked people how they deal with Hunters, and they told me it's so easy. You just build up your stack and OTK them before they can do anything. I hate asking advice online because every single time someone who's never faced a good player answers me.
Yeah.
It's similar to Nationals the first year. When I was playing Bond and Friendship, and I would play against you playing Diaboromon,
Yeah.
and it was unwinnable.
It was awful back then. Yeah.
It was impossible. And I would ask for advice, and everyone would be like, it's so easy. You outspeed them. Just win before they can set up. No, it was not like that. And then guess what we saw? At Nationals, Diaboromon did very well.
Yeah.
If they face Bond and Friendship deck.
Yeah, that was a pretty big requirement.
Yeah. And so it's the same thing with Hunters and Mirage. And so my big hope was please don't let me face Hunters the very first round. And I sat down across from the person and they were playing Hunters. So devastating. And it was a very close game one. They took it. I felt very bad. And then game two, I won. I don't know how. They ended up making some pretty big misplays that cost them game two and game three.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, against a better Hunter player, that would not have happened. But they also did play very well. And they were playing some cards in their deck that just blew me out of the water. Like, I could not believe. I saw Overflowing Power, which worked very well for them at one point. I also saw a card that I had to read because I didn't believe it was real.
Which was it?
Prism Garrett.
Is that a purple card?
It is a purple card.
Yeah, I do know this card. Tell us what it is, 'cause it'll take me too long to remember.
It is an EX5 box topper.
Okay.
And you can
Nice.
place up to 2 cards, maybe 3. You can place some amount of cards with save in their text under one of your Tamers or Digimon.
Okay.
Something along these lines. And for every card you place, gain plus 1000 DP on one of your Digimon.
Okay.
I don't understand the card. I don't understand its usefulness, but it was in there.
That's not good. That's a bad.
And I might be not describing it properly, but you are right. It is not a good card.
That doesn't seem very
It's
good.
not a good card. You know what it might be useful in?
I play that for one
It's
memory.
Bagra Army.
It costs 1 memory.
It costs one memory.
It would be
Still-
good in Bagger
still
Army
though.
to
Yeah,
limit
that's
your
what I was
use,
thinking. Bagra Army, I could definitely see its potential value.
but not in Hunters.
Definitely not Hunters.
I won that and I felt very good. In round 2, I faced Red Hybrids. And I also felt very good because part of the reason I wanted to swap from Anubis was the Red Hybrid matchup. In the playing Mirage against Red Hybrids, I feel amazing. Feels like such a easy matchup for me, which is not easy to say because Red Hybrids go fast. They go very
Yeah,
fast.
they go very, very fast.
But they want their stuff in the trash. And one thing Blue does very well is keep things out of the trash. And then round 3, I faced Anubis, and that was my first loss of the day.
Yeah.
Super cool person. Their name was Ben.
Ben, okay. We love shouting out Ben on this
Yeah.
podcast.
We introduced each other on Discord after the fact. Such close games. Game 1, I just did not see a level 4. Game 2, I kept a wild hand. 1 ultimate, 2 megas, 2 level 7s, and a memory boost. And I did not mulligan that hand.
Yeah.
And turn 1, I played a memory boost. Turn 2, I played a Zudomon. Turn 3, Mirage on field. I drew
You're
into
sick.
another Zudomon. So turn 4, another Zudomon into Mirage.
Oh my god.
Wow.
And they scooped it up.
Yeah.
It was just it's really hard to recover from that board state when you can't add a card to your hand by effect, or I'll gain 6 memory. And then I also had 2 burst ones in my hands. So anything they
Bro.
put on field was going
was
to get
going
back.
straight back,
Yeah.
and you're also, yeah, fuck. Burst mode does a lot of work.
You just went in, eh?
Yeah, that felt very good because
That was like.
that was a calculated risk and it really paid off. Zudomon is such a good card. If there's one thing that I wish I could have considered more is for Zudomon, and he's such a good card, but I really think that 3 was a good number because you want the inheritables off of other cards.
Yeah, I'm a big inheritable fan. The thing is that it's so good to get the memory back from like getting rid of other ace cards.
Yep.
It is incredible removal. The only thing that's not great is if it's the only ultimate you are holding on to, it's very frustrating. But Mirage doesn't have too bad of a time getting access to additional cards.
No, and sometimes it's annoying because it doesn't have the inheritable, but sometimes it's just the right choice for the ultimate that you build into. Because you're bouncing a card, and a lot of times you'll gain memory from bouncing a card. So you can keep turn from one memory. Game 3, I did not see enough Zudamons. I needed more Zudamons. But that was my first loss of the day.
I'm gonna say we're gonna pause for a minute. Julie's just gonna come in. She's gonna be making noise while she gets to her space, rather than have it. Wait. Jeremiah, what can I do for you? Because you're dying, and
I'm fine. Here's a life update. I went rock climbing. So
Okay.
I for context, I weightlift. So I have a lot of like calluses and like hard spots in my hands. Just
Sure,
kind of, like, part of it. I went rock
you're our
climbing.
muscle man. You're our big man on the workout regime.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know what? With powerlifting, it didn't hurt it didn't kill my hands as much.
Yeah.
But with weightlifting specifically, like just the way you hold the bar is different. Like you're using more chalk, so you're drawing stuff out. You're just really like killing your hand.
Sure.
But whatever. I went rock climbing yesterday or bouldering. Just fucking destroyed my hands. Like I've got a bunch of blisters with the skin just came off and everything, and like
You know, you're my biggest nightmare at work on a daily. Because I think you guys know this. I run a fingerprinting firm to like get people paroles and just like whenever the RCMP needs people to be fingerprinted, I'm their guy. And so anybody who fucks up their hand weightlifting or doing cleaning work or doing construction without like proper safety equipment, you're the worst.
what the fuck, dude? It's like lower down on my hands. I can still give you a little thumbprint.
You want to give me a little ID check?
Yeah, I'll thumbprint you. But yeah, like my hands are fucked. So I'm going to train tomorrow. I'll probably try to take it easy on terms of like grabbing stuff. I can't like do any of the weightlifting movements, but that's okay.
Did you leave again?
No, so she's come back, but for some reason she's making the most noise possible as she comes back inside.
She figured we're still paused.
No, she knows we're not paused because she's hearing us right now.
Oh, Julia.
She
I am slightly concerned about her keyboard. Crazy.
Don't post cringe on Reddit for the next hour because you type very loud whenever you get angry about something. You type like 10 times the loudness.
You fucking get her. Hey, you want a carpool?
I
You want a carpool home?
did want a carpool.
Well, where
I
were
wanted
you?
to too, but Ian bullied me and told me to come in early.
Choo-choo.
Where
I'm not getting paid for this either. I'm not getting paid overtime.
were you earlier, by the way?
The best part about this is I get all the ad revenue. You two
What?
haven't seen anything.
Okay.
Where was I when?
Before you came.
I was at the gas station in Tim Hortons trying to find my way to the parking lot.
No, like why were you late today?
Oh, we had a little celebration for Taylor's birthday.
Date of birth.
Wait,
Date of birth.
it's her birthday?
She's 26. It's
And-
not today.
Okay.
Damn old.
And you're here? Like, shut the fuck up. Bro.
Wait, you wouldn't show up to the podcast on your girlfriend's birthday?
Yeah, no, yeah.
You're wild, and really,
What?
of
Dude.
course.
Girlfriend birthday.
I don't know. It's what's the date today? Yeah, it'll be on a podcast recording day 2 weeks from now. It's gonna be my birthday,
Okay.
and I'm gonna show up.
I'm not gonna show up.
You're wild.
You can do whatever you want. It's your birthday.
I'm confused.
Because you're saying like, oh, well, it's her birthday. Why do you need to like stop your plans to do something for her birthday? It's like, oh, because
That's not what he's saying. He's saying you have a commitment,
Yeah,
and so you gotta plan around the commitment.
my commitment is to my girlfriend on her birthday, bro. That's a
Okay,
given.
so would you not go into work?
huh?
Would you tell your boss, my commitment is to my girlfriend on my birthday?
Yeah,
I
but
can't
this
come
isn't
to
my
work."
job.
No, but
Not until I start seeing some ad
it's,
revenue.
it's not your job, but it's your commitment. That's what we're saying. So your job is your commitment. So would you say
This is
my
not
real
my.
commitment is my girlfriend's birthday?
Yeah, that's my real. What?
No, all we're saying is that I'm
What
not
is-
telling
what
you to
are you
miss
saying?
Maddie's birthday. I'm just saying Ian's thought process is this is a commitment, so you plan around it.
Okay,
And
Julia,
what you're saying is you have a commitment to your girlfriend on her
carefully
birthday.
close the
But
door. Make sure
you
the
can say that
wires
about
don't
every
catch.
single like
Julia,
next week
Yeah,
you have a
get that
commitment
lower.
to eating at McDonald's.
wire
so you
lower.
don't show up to the podcast.
We
Like,
can't
you can say
record
you
this
made
at
a
the same
commitment to
time,
anything,
guys.
You know what I mean?
We can't record two things at the same time. Let Julia close the door first. Okay, so what is this?
Nothing.
So you'd commit to Maddie before us. That's the
Yes.
thesis.
Yes.
That's a bad take.
That's a bad take.
That's an insanely bad take, actually. Yeah,
What?
I think it's important to. I care about Julia. I make commitments to Julia, but I've made another commitment and it conflicts with Julia, and I've not made a commitment with Julia. I stay true to the commitment. Like if Julia's like, "Hey, I want to see a movie tomorrow," and I'm like, "Well, I've already made a commitment to do this podcast."
The reality is
I stick to that.
that what Jeremiah should do and what we would do
Is reschedule.
is tell each other in advance and reschedule.
Exactly. But I think that Jeremiah is the type of guy that if on the day of Maddie's like, "I want you to stay," he'd be like, "I'm gone." He would not show up to the commitment.
Yeah.
Jeremiah, thoughts?
Well, I was there first. So-
Huh?
Well, I was there first
You were where first?
with Maddie.
If before you left today, Maddie said, "I want to hang out with you. I need to see you. We need to talk."
Well,
Send you a text. We need
if
to
it
talk.
was listen, if it was really important, then yeah, I'd let you guys know and be like, "Hey, sorry, I have something important that I need to deal with."
I think if it was a we need to talk, wouldn't show up.
Yeah, that's true.
If it was
Or if you
like,
shouldn't show up.
if
You
it was
shouldn't
like a
If
hey,
it was a "Hey, I want to hang out,"
hey, I want to hang out with you, I'd be like, "Hey, well, I have something planned, but can we hang out another night?" And then if she said no, I'd probably be like, "Listen, I made a commitment first. If it's just hanging out, then not a big deal. If
Alright.
it's something else, if you want to go on a date or you want to do like something special to celebrate whatever, then sure. Well, I
but,
can
birth,
maybe-
but
I
birthdays
can
are an
maybe-
exception.
Birthdays are for sure an exception.
What
yeah.
about funerals?
Yeah, yes.
Why?
Come on, man. What?
She doesn't care. She's dead.
Man,
What if she's pregnant?
that's great. It's wait, what?
Can vegans,
Maddie?
Can vegans get girls pregnant?
Huh?
Can vegans get girls pregnant?
No, they can't. No meat.
No.
No meat.
No,
No
dude.
meat.
All right, I'm gonna record a soundbite for you to use in the.
This is awful. Yeah, go ahead.
Back to a regularly scheduled broadcast.
Dude.
I lost to Anubis. It was very sad. Great games. I then immediately beat Anubis afterwards.
Okay.
Again, Zudamon, star of the show. So good.
Yeah.
Then I won some more games. Got in a little bit of a scuffle. Not really a scuffle, but
Scuffle. Wait, enhance on that.
You actually get into a fight?
not really. But
You yell at somebody? Do you call a judge?
The person had triple sleeve cards, and I was shuffling their deck, and they were saying that I was taking too long to shuffle. And so I said,
What?
"Your cards are triple sleeved. They should." And he said, "I'm surprised you can even shuffle them." I
Bro.
said, "I'm surprised you're not shuffling them because that's a mandatory part of this game."
Wait, did he not shuffle his deck?
He did, but it was one of the bad shuffles where it's just continuous cuts,
Okay.
Yo.
and it was War Greymon. You
Yeah.
just make the perfect stack, then you put it back in your deck like that, and then you don't shuffle the deck. You're good to go.
Do you think he was intentionally cheating?
No, I don't.
But you think he's a weenie?
Yeah, I
There
do.
you go. Call him a weenie on the podcast.
He was a weenie.
There you go. That's what we want.
Here's his first and last name and his home address.
I felt so weird when I looked at the Eggman events decks, and I was like, I saw, oh, there's your first and last name, classic.
I hate it. We actually talked in a previous episode, either
In the first episode, I think.
either on this podcast or Security Checkpoint. We talk about the fact that we don't use gamer tags in Digimon. And it's so sad.
Well, I use my gamer tag.
No, we use our gamer tag, but when you enter a tournament, they put up your first and last name and not your tag.
Oh yeah. It's a meaningless like distinction. Yeah.
There's
yeah.
almost no point in having the tag,
No.
which is sad. But after we finish the game in 50,
So you want to like enter tournaments? You want people to be like, that's Shadowhawk 69.
Yeah, yeah, I do. We finished all 3 games. Well, 2 games. He scooped up the first one really quickly, and then I comboed him very quickly in the second game. Finished both those games in maybe 15, 20 minutes. For the first time the entire day, I walked by Hassan while he was still playing a game.
Yeah.
Almost the entire day, I would see
We should give the context. A red hybrid player.
he was playing Red Hybrid. And he high rolls like crazy.
Yeah, this is the guy that is meant to exist and end the tournament before the halfway mark of each round.
Every single time I'd be playing my game 1 still, and I would see him out of the corner of the eye walking behind me, and I don't understand. Almost every single round he was done in 10-15 minutes. So
Yeah.
the first time of the day, I walked by him. I felt so good. I took a picture of him. I posted it in the Discord. Like, this is proof. I was going over the judge to talk about the triple sleeving issue, and I saw my opponent talking to the judge. And I did talk to the head judge, and they were in the wrong, so I feel better about that. But moral of the story: don't triple sleeve your cards, guys. Don't
It's
do
just
it.
too much.
It's too much. You don't need to, and it's illegal.
You don't need
It's
to
not
wear.
illegal. You need to be able to manage this.
It's
stuff.
against the tournament rules.
It actually
It
explicitly lists-
specifically says you are not allowed to triple sleeve your deck.
Oh, really?
You cannot go more than 2 sleeves deep.
Really? I actually didn't know that.
You
Yes,
can't wear more than 3 condoms.
exactly. You can't. No, you can't wear 3.
It'll impact your performance.
Cap out at 2, boys.
Yeah.
That's
Cap out. You can double condom up. That's pushing.
there has
it.
been no definitive proof that there's anything wrong with 2.
I mean, something has to protect my first condom.
we need to
What
put,
if the first one breaks?
What if it gets pregnant?
we need to put a disclaimer in for when we get sued because someone got someone pregnant.
It's the same, but it's so funny because it actually does work exactly the same with sleep. Like if you're too rough with it, then it'll break, and then if it breaks, then you need another. So you want a sleeve to protect your sleeve, just
Yeah,
in
but
case
why? So why don't you put your second condom on bottom up?
Put it in my.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
So
I'll try that.
last event of the day, last round of the day,
Yeah.
I had to face a fellow GTA member.
Yeah.
I actually had to face 2 GTA members that day.
Greater Toronto area.
Greater Toronto area. It was very sad. And then day 2, very first round, I had to face another one. So I was just knocking people out left and right.
Wait, did you knock both of them out?
I knocked all 3 of them out.
So
yeah.
you didn't lose to a local player.
I did not.
There you go. Get their asses.
Yeah.
Get smashed.
And it was a very. All my games were so good, so close. I had a phenomenal day of Digimon. Great first day. I left there late, unfortunately, and starving. I left there feeling good and ready for day 2. Now, I was a little bit sad because I wanted to play in the 3v3 event and other side events, but, I was competing. Day 2, my goal, my ultimate achievement was to not lose in the very first round of single elimination. It wasn't Swiss anymore.
Yeah.
We're sitting there.
Oh, that's interesting. Actually, I want to hone in on this. So it was a Swiss tournament
Right.
until day 2, which was what, 64 players?
64.
And on the 64 player day, it was a single elimination tournament.
Yes.
That is wild. Okay.
Yeah. So we were there.
That becomes very, very high rolly at that point because you could like one loss, you're out of the event,
More or less, yeah.
more or less, or is it?
More or less to high rolling. One loss and you are out of the event.
Yes.
But I don't know if it's super high rolling.
Sorry. I'll say is it's super punishing to a single brick.
Yes.
Wait, so you literally can't go X and 2 on day 1?
I did go X and 2 on day 1. Day 2 was single elimination.
Or sorry, day 2.
Yeah, so my first round opponent was another GTA member, Anubismon. It was a very close game. I had a phenomenal end of the round. It was so much fun. I'm going to remember this for a long time because
What happened? Tell us what happened.
they had just established a room mode.
Okay.
So I had to digivolve up to an ultimate in the back and pass.
Yeah.
I think I had a tamer and a mental training on field. Maybe it was a memory boost, something. They raised up an Anubis stack while they still had a rune mode stack on field.
Yeah.
Did Anubis things, played out Mervamon, played out 2 level 4s. So their field now consisted of a Saber Dramon, a Dobermon X, a
Yeah.
Mervamon, a rune mode stack, did I say Mervamon already?
Yeah.
Well, they had an Anubismon stack and a single Goblymon. So 6 things on field. I raised up my level 5. I went into Mirage, bounced to level 4. I then played a Zudomon and bounced Mura. Because they gave me 4 memory.
I was gonna say they give you a lot of memory. Okay. Yeah.
Well, 4. It's not a lot, but
Sure.
then I went into I'm gaining memory off Mirage, don't forget.
Yeah.
Then I went into another Mirage and bounced out their level 4. Then I went into burst mode for free and bounced their room mode. Then I went into another burst mode and bounced their Anubismon. They now had Goblymon on field. So I swung twice, with the burst mode that had come from Raising.
Yeah.
I hit a single training from their security,
Yeah.
and then I played my own training. They had 2 memory and a Goblin on field versus a Mirage Galgamon and a burst mode.
Yes.
How did you lose?
I did not lose.
Good.
That was game 3, and it was such a fun game 3. And the judge was sitting right beside us because we were in overtime. And I did feel like I was in a losing position. And to start that game off, I had just raised up a Mac Galgamon with jamming. It was 11k. I swung at security. I was going to go into Mirage and start doing stuff. And the very first check was an option. It
Yeah.
just deleted me. And that hurt. And I didn't know how I was going to recover from that. But man, it feels good when your deck can recover from that.
Yeah, I've increasingly been growing frustrated with the presence of security in our game. I know you've talked before about how it's kind of necessary given the consistency of the game,
Mm-hmm.
but there's few things that I feel worse about than coming up with like a full stack and going like, I'm gonna swing in 13k and I hit like an Omnimon and I'm like, well, I guess that happens. I think that security is just a really frustrating thing to be on either end of the spectrum. Either if you have a dead security or if the first check like ruined my full stack.
Speaking of security, a devastating second round for me.
Yes.
I'm sitting across from security control, and I knew he was a security control player, and I knew that the matchup sucked for Mirage. And some people will say it's a good match, like Mirage has the upper end. Those people have not faced good security control players.
Yeah.
And those people did not have to swing into Chaos Degradation, Wyverns, Flame Hellscythe.
In order?
Yes.
Jesus.
I was so confused. I hadn't seen a single Digimon or Tamer in this person's security. They only had a single Mimi on field. And I was thinking to myself, does this person only run a single Mimi?
Yeah.
Where are the Tamers in this deck? And then immediately after I said that, I hit 2 Tamers, but it was too late for that. Game 2, you work with what you have when you're facing security control. Game 2, I tried to pivot into a strategy where I swung more low end stuff because you can still unsuspend with Thomas.
Yeah.
You have jamming. Problem is Flame Hellscythe takes out your ultimates, and almost all the options that slow you down are killing you anyway.
Your ultimates are 6k in that deck?
Sorry, my champions.
Oh, okay.
My ultimates are 7k, so Flame Hellscythe does not take them out. But I was trying to leave champions on field, just like to flood the board more.
Yeah. You
And
could
that-
get Death X. That's a scary proposition.
It wasn't even Death X. It was Magna Angemon Ace.
Nice.
So you
Oh,
just
yeah.
recover and you kill level
Yeah,
4
yeah.
so cheaply. And that was the end of my run. It was very sad, but I accomplished my goal, and I'm hoping to do even better next year. And then we got into the good part.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was much more excited hearing about watching the tournament than you participating in it.
After that, I went and got some food. And then Battle Spirits finals were up on the big screen.
What did you get?
They had a cafeteria there, and they had these massive chicken fingers. And America always makes me sad because they don't have plum sauce or sweet and sour sauce,
What do they use?
honey mustard or barbecue or ketchup.
Oh, also, yeah. I mean, I guess it's all high sugar, but like, yeah, like those are like sugary ones.
The honey mustard wasn't too bad, and the chicken fingers were pretty good. The fries sucked. But as I sat there eating my chicken fingers and watching the Battle Spirits finals, it was, first of all, very fun. Second one, I was so surprised at how many first box cards were up there.
Like set ones.
Set 1 cards. The
There's
elephant,
only 4 sets.
yeah, 4 sets, and most of the cards that were being played were from set 1.
I think that set 1 included a ton of powerful stuff, and the main things that were powerful after set 1 were promo cards. Like that's really how I was
can't
feeling about the
comment.
game.
I can't comment on set 2 or onward because we stopped playing, but
I,
for
I
Battle
paid
Spirits,
attention to the games.
So it was a mirror match in the
fair enough.
finals.
Yeah.
Both were playing Beldegor.
Beldegor's a great card.
Both were playing Curse Dragon and
Priest.
no, what's the one that strips everyone down to 1 core?
the
Priest.
Bishop.
Bishop, thank you, Baculus.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Both were playing, or actually, I don't know if both were playing this card. Nomengard,
Yeah,
still an Unreal card.
Yeah.
I love that card, man.
Starblast Draw is still there. Absolute Ice Shield.
Yeah, those cards are amazing.
So it was a very, very multicolor
It was a
control
rainbow deck.
decks. Yeah.
It's basically like, yeah, that's kind of what the meta was for a while. From what I remember, it was just like multicolored control.
Well, it felt like if you were gonna do monocolor, you were just doing aggro strategies, and like if you were
I played weight control specifically, but I definitely ended up splashing more colors.
Now,
Yeah,
I,
This was more beneficial.
I will say we enjoyed Battle Spirits a lot because of the freedom with deck building, but I think that it does showcase some of the issues where you just take the best cards of every color and you
Yeah.
put them in a deck,
I think so. I mean,
and that's uninspired.
you could have made it more disincentivized if you just said higher base costs, higher reductions, because the way like essentially for listeners, Battle Spirits works under the premise of devotion. Every card is cheaper to cast if you already have cards of the deck's color on the field.
Mhm.
But if you just have nothing on the field, everything it costs its full amount.
Yeah. So
Um,
sometimes you'll have like a 1 mana guy that he reduces himself by 1 if he sees another red guy, so you can actually just play him for free. But every creature that comes onto the field requires you to put one of your like basically your mana on them,
to keep them alive.
to keep them on the board. Yeah,
Now,
to give them stats as well.
it was fun to watch. Battle Spirit crowd, obviously, not huge.
No.
And they weren't really popping off, but it was fun. When the winners were announced, they came up on stage because they weren't actually playing on stage. We had the commentators on stage. They were playing in a separate area, and it was being streamed
Sure.
to us. They came up on stage and they hand this little tiny plaque to second place person. It looks about the size of a trading card. He's holding it in his 2 hands. It's so dinky. And then they bring out these massive check to the first place person.
Like he just won the lottery sort of
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. And so I took a picture because it just looks so ridiculous.
Didn't he get 50 grand?
$50,000?
That's so sick.
For
And-
winning Battle Spirits, good for him.
Second
Dude,
place
legit.
person also, I think they got like 25 or something.
Bro,
Yeah, but a
that's
small
so
check.
real.
But it's a normal size check, so who cares? Now,
Yeah.
after Battle Spirits was Digimon, and it started to get packed up in there because I don't know their names, but some artists came on and they sang some songs for us.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of it was O2 songs.
Was it the rules song?
No,
you get that?
we didn't
No?
get the rule song. We didn't get the English Digimon song,
Yeah.
but they sang
Garbage.
Butterfly. which
Yeah,
is
you,
just
you
good.
said they thought they would have to play the Digirap.
the original Digimon theme song.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I wanted the,
Digivolve to champion.
no, I want the Digirap, bro.
Change.
Yeah,
Did-
but it was good.
Did
A
you see-
lot
did
of
you
O.
hear?
Sorry,
Did you see? Did you hear? Did
Uh-uh.
you know it was coming?
they did a lot of O2 songs, and I just didn't know them.
Yeah.
He was
O2's
good though.
O2's not great.
Then the actual game started, and it was. I keep using this word, and I'm gonna keep using it. Electric. It felt like I was at a sports game. It was
Is-
so fun.
Is Digimon an esport?
I mean, no.
And
What do you
we-
think the E in esports stands for?
Electronic.
Yeah,
I was viewing it
electric.
electronically. It's a digital card game.
It is. It's
It
all
is
about
a
the
digital
styles,
card
bro.
game, I
Yep.
guess so.
Yep, Digimon's an esport.
I wish we streamed more of it and had like a spectating zone for that. And I really hope that we have something like that next year because the finale was very exciting. It was Security Control versus Anubis. Anubis took it. I'm not going to go too far into it because we talked about this last episode.
Yeah.
But then I watched the One Piece finals. I don't really know that much about One Piece. It looked pretty boring for the most part. Even Battle Spirits looked more exciting.
Yeah.
It was cool seeing the characters that I knew because I watched the show.
Mhm.
One Piece crowd was popping off. It was exciting just being there.
Yeah, the environment helps a lot.
Yeah. And one of the Jackson Huang, or I think that's his name, was one of the people there, and he's considered the GOAT of One Piece. I know the
Yeah.
very first tournament he came first, and then I'm pretty sure he took the second tournament too, in the same weekend.
Pretty good.
And the underdog won, which is cool for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah.
And the GOAT was also on the top deck, and the other person was on not the top deck. So it was a whole big thing.
Sure. I
What
mean,
was the top deck at the time?
I think it's Sakazuki.
yeah, Sakazuki's doing very well.
Is that the fucking? Isn't that?
That's the black deck like I was playing, remember?
Oh yes, I do remember that.
And Enel was.
It's
the-
essentially just like deletion control.
and now it feels weird that they call him Enel because when I watched the anime, they called him Enaru.
Yeah, I thought it was a Nero. Yeah.
But it's the Lanamon, Ranamon, Lydramon, Rydramon thing.
Yeah. What does Aniru do? You know?
Do you not know?
No.
Because this is exciting for you.
It's exciting for me.
Once
Is
per
it
turn,
exile?
once per turn, if you lose your last security, recover. Scratch card in hand, recover.
What?
Yeah.
That's not the yellow card.
That's
It is a
really
yellow card.
good.
Oh, I thought you were saying this is part of the Sakazuki deck.
No, this is Eneru. This is
Oh,
the
it's a
opponent.
separate deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so sick.
How much would Jeremiah love to have that?
That
in
card's
Digimon?
fucking awesome.
Just a
It's like-
tamer that says, because that's what a leader
Just play
is.
Dynasmon.
No, but it can't be removed. Eneru can't be removed.
Oh, that's your leader's
it's just-
effect.
it's just-
leader.
It's just once per turn you can like ditch a card.
So
to
your
stop an attack.
opponent
Yeah.
needs to
That's
deal at
But-
least 2 damage on your final turn.
Right, and it's not just stop an attack because the deck runs a lot of security triggers.
Oh, bro, that's so sick.
A lot of people that play out of security.
Yo, we play in One Piece?
No.
Wait, but that.
Did
that
you
sounds
play?
really
You've
cool.
played the game. You know it doesn't go well.
You guys don't like One Piece as much as I like One. I like.
I
One
played
Piece.
One Piece more than either of you. I'm fine with the concept of One Piece. I think, like my issues with Flesh and Blood, I think a lot of the matchups felt like they ended in a whimper, and I think that I just don't like the dynamic that the shield system added to the game. I think that counter timing was very good. That their instant speed, whatever they call it in their game.
Yeah.
But as a whole, auto ramp not my thing. A lot of the decks I didn't love. I think that leaders were a terrible like component of the game. If I was going to play something that had such a like magic like system with mana, I probably would either play Magic or I would play one of the many other existing contemporaries that do it better than One Piece.
It's a shame because I like One Piece, but I think part of what holds me back, other than the gameplay, is the community. I don't want to bash on the community, but like I mentioned earlier,
A sea of stinkers.
they were hustling. The majority of the community is about that money, and that's just not the people I want.
Well, I think that's just any popular community that like it's a popular young community because like there's been a huge change in the value of cards in that game. Whereas like Magic, like cards are very valuable, but they've been valuable for a while.
But I think One Piece cards were always valuable, and I think they will retain that because it's such a popular IP. I think
Yeah,
One Piece
it's-
cards have a lot less reliance on meta relevance like Digimon cards do.
Yeah, it's a similar situation to Dragon Ball Super. It's like the same thing, but then you have that issue with when you print the Goku that says if I hit you I win. That guy like
Forgot to bring this up,
Hmm.
but they also had a whole other section of the venue dedicated to Dragon Ball and a massive sign over the crypto arena
Yeah.
of
nice.
Goku and Vegeta, and it said Dragon Ball Battle Hour, and then it had the dates of the weekend.
That's sick, bro.
But like were
But
people
there a lot of
playing it?
players?
I didn't go in that room. I almost walked in accidentally once, but there was a lot of people that were there as spectators to not play in the tournament, but just to be there
To watch.
and to see.
I mean, it's free. You can just go.
I saw the One Piece original theme song sang live, and that was awesome
That's great.
because I listen to that song all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
And I also heard Over the Top. Man, I had the time of my life sitting there listening to One Piece theme songs being played,
And then
Yeah.
cringing at the gameplay.
and then
of it.
cringing at the gameplay. Yeah,
I like the game.
No, but-
I think One Piece.
You
Like-
don't like the game, you don't play it.
I don't play it. There's a lot of games I like, but
Oh, so you actively consider that a game that you enjoy?
yeah. Well, I mean, I think if I had like unlimited income and time, I'd probably play One Piece. But
Oh, interesting.
you have
Games ex-
unlimited money and time, and you're spending your time playing One Piece.
well, I guess no. But I'm just saying that like I'm saying that like if
Think
it
of,
was
think of how many anime figures you could buy.
well, the truth is, guys, card games are very time consuming.
You'd be exploring like a jungle or mountain climbing or something, not playing One Piece.
Yeah, I'd probably do something more interesting. I'm just saying that card games are very time consuming. Playing multiple card games is extremely time consuming.
And
if you're playing
expensive, yeah.
any of them to like any amount of like relevancy, and it's gonna be expensive if you wanna put in the time to play well. You also want good cards to play with. It's gonna cost you money. So I just think like multiple card games are really hard to handle, and especially when there's not a scene for you to use them very much. Like I know that where we're from, there's not many One Piece players. There are players, but not nearly as many as Digimon.
I will say it's something.
I don't think that's true.
Really?
No, there are a ton of One Piece players, dude.
I don't know.
Just
On,
because they
on
ha-
Thursday nights at Digimon, they have like 30 plus people. I went on what I thought was One Piece night on Wednesday the other night. There's nobody there.
Well,
Yu-Gi-Oh
specifically,
players.
like in the Hamilton scene, I don't know, but I will say that within the Mississauga scene, there is a large One Piece community that shows up for events. Well, they host in Ontario regionals for One Piece, and they have been doing
No,
that.
but
Which you get a lot.
Jeremiah wasn't saying that One Piece is a smaller community. We know it's bigger.
I thought that's what he was
saying.
saying.
It's hard when you want to play a game and there isn't a local scene because Jeremiah doesn't have a local scene for One Piece.
Sure, but he doesn't need to travel. If he wanted to just go to Niagara region, he would have players.
An hour drive is still an hour drive.
It's a half-hour drive.
It's still like going out of your
To
way,
Niagara?
right? Like,
I was coming from Niagara to you guys. It was a half-hour drive.
You're coming from Grimsby. It's the gateway to Niagara.
It was very close to Toy Trove. It was like less than 10 minutes from Toy Trove.
No.
Yeah.
I drive to Grimsby every day for work. It only takes me 20 minutes, but it would be another 25 minutes to get to Niagara.
That's 45 minutes.
Also, Toy Trove is okay. Toy Trove is in St. Catharines.
Yeah. Well,
Which-
Niagara region. That's what I
Yeah,
said. It's
But
Niagara
also,
region.
45 minutes it's a good chunk of time to commit to driving for a card game.
yeah. And then it's also like, I don't know, then you have to be out there for like a certain amount of time before it feels like worth it. Cause like, say you go and then you're like just having a bad mood or like you're just in a bad mood, you're just not having a good time. You can't pack it up and leave when you're only there for like 20 minutes because then it's a 45-minute drive back. So you've invested almost 2 hours to this, but you've only shown up and done anything with it for like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
It's not worth it.
I get where that perspective comes from.
I mean, it's not like a huge thing. I guess the truth is I just don't have the like want or need to play it. But I do respect what the game was like, what it's trying to do design wise and how it's executed. And I played a very bare bones version of the game because I think set one was a lot more vanilla than most card games I've played. At least for like what was good, but yeah, One Piece I think just like where it's at now, it's probably a lot better, but in general, it's fine for what it's trying to be.
So, yeah, I came 32nd at Nationals this year.
you got bumped down because I'm so angry about this because you were 31st.
Yeah, I got bumped down.
Revisionist history at it again.
I got
You
bumped
were
down.
31st and you got bumped down.
After that, though, after all the excitement of the finals, I went out and I recorded a guest episode
Yes, with our friends.
with our friends JB and Nolan, Security Checkpoint. Check them out. And then we went for sushi, and I had the best sushi of my life.
Yeah.
I was
Are
not
you a
the-
big sushi guy?
Love sushi.
I prefaced,
Would you eat marching fishes?
yes,
Yeah, there you go.
I prefaced to them that I'm very basic. My favorite roll is probably California roll.
Yeah.
And I felt like I would eat anything. And they also did me a solid and lied to me. And because I also said, like, I just can't, the idea of knowing, like, that it's octopus or eel hinders me. It holds me back.
So, just
So they would
to
lie
you.
to me.
They're like, it's salmon.
Like, don't worry, it's just a California roll with avocado. And I'd eat it. I was like, oh, that's pretty good. And they're like, it's eel. Best sushi ever. We also did an escape room
Okay.
at like 12 a.m. So much fun. Wasn't super complicated, but so engineered. At one point, 3 pillars started rising from the ground,
Okay.
and like the whole room was rattling. And then it had like 3 spots for us to put crystals that we had collected
Yeah.
into it, and a lot of mechanical engineering went into this room. It was so cool.
That's
That
really
sounds
fun.
insane.
It was insane.
That sounds.
It was
really
also
fun.
a maze that you had to crawl on your hands and knees underneath the room that we did, like as part of the room's puzzles. And there was just a lot of engineering that went into it that probably made it more fun than a normal escape room, but it didn't tickle your brain like a normal escape room
Yeah.
does. But yeah, it was Mount Olympus themed, and I love Greek mythology. It was cool.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Cool, man.
We were out till like 2 a.m. I want to say.
That's kind of what you want when you go to, like, if you're gonna travel for a tournament. I actually think that the time you spend outside of the tournament, just hanging out in the space, is what I kind of value more.
Well, it was like a perfect weekend for me. I accomplished my goal, and then after the tournament, I had a ton of fun. And
Yeah.
The next day, we were at the airport. I was sleeping on the ground. I was like, this chair is not comfortable enough. I'm spreading out on the ground. Somebody tapped me when we're boarding.
That's like the energy. People probably assumed you were hungover.
Probably, yeah.
But you're just high on escape room energy.
I had such a phenomenal weekend. Tuesday morning, I was driving to work, and I was so sad. And I'm so ready to do it again.
I said this to you in DMs, but I'll commit to going next year
Please.
as long as I'm allowed to go to nationals. Because the main reason I didn't go is because I tried to sign up and they were like, "You're on a wait list," and I was not willing to roll the dice to be on a wait list.
Also, you're not allowed in the U.S., right? Because you're an international terrorist or just a
You
national?
said I'm international. You know, I was gonna introduce you in this episode because you started by telling us about like your trip to nationals, and I was like, all right, so that's Noah, the nationalist.
No, going there to LA, I got called up and they had to like swipe my passport and check it out,
Yeah,
and nobody else in the group had that. And I decided, I asked them why, and they wouldn't tell me. They said
Well,
they just had to do it.
was it because your name was Cheech and they assumed you were smuggling drugs?
No, they called out my name. They said, Noah Danez, please come over and show your passport.
Danez.
That's it.
And so Hassan keeps calling me that, and I'm assuming I'm a flight risk at this
You
point.
know,
Isn't it from when you were a kid? You were wearing that glove.
I can't
You told us
imagine I'm
about
still
that.
on the list.
That's got to be it. That's got to be it.
that one time they just like, this is a magician.
Until I'm proven wrong, I'm going with that.
Now, U.S. security, TSA, is a lot more strict than Canadian. So
Yes.
we were not allowed to wear sweaters on the way going through security,
Yeah.
and Hassan was only wearing a sweater.
Nice.
So I really wanted him to just strip down, but he just had to get pat down after he walked through.
I mean, it's not that bad. I told you guys I get pat down every time.
No, it's not that. He had a choice. They said, you can keep your sweater on, you just need to get pat down. I said, just rip it off, man. Be free. This is America. This is a land where we don't wear shirts through the airport.
No socks, no shirt,
No problems.
no problems.
no sex.
Yeah, I'd love. We've talked about it before. We had such a great time at Gen Con.
Yeah.
And that was the same vibe, and I would love to do that more. It's a little bit expensive,
Pretty expensive.
but every time, and that's why we can't do it that much, but every time I do it, I want it so bad. Is this what people feel like when they travel?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Because I don't like traveling.
I remember we started this right after I got back from Japan, and I'm currently planning when I'm next gonna be able to travel. I think I'm gonna go to Korea. I think I came all the way back to North America just to go to a very similar, like geographically part of the world.
North Korea?
Yeah, North Korea. Well, you know, my brother went like further into North Korea than any North American tourists were able to go at the time.
Yeah, it was
legally.
a failed assassination attempt, right?
yeah, yeah.
I just watched the interview, so
Yeah,
I know
the
what's
interview.
going on here.
No, he that's a long story. My family went to North Korea. They got into a lot of trouble. My mom fell asleep during a big like nationalist show that they had, and she got hauled away by like the North Korean military for disrespecting their country.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
My brother just didn't see her for like 2 days.
No.
Why would you go to North Korea?
Because he liked traveling the world.
But why would the rest of your family go?
No, it's just him and my mom.
Oh
And he
my
didn't see her for
goodness.
2 days. He's
No,
like,
like
she's probably
maybe,
fine.
Maybe not 2 days. I think like he just didn't see her until like a lot later, and then like she was hanging out. And they're like, why didn't you appreciate the show? It was like at the time it was the large. They claimed a lot of things which I think were not true, but on the trip they were like, this is gonna be the most acrobats to appear in a show that happened worldwide. They said that to her, and they were like, they sat her down with all the other tourists and a bunch of North Korean viewership, and she fell asleep. And they were like, why didn't you respect this like show of our national pride? And they pulled her away to interview her, and she was like, I was just tired from the flight.
The description of this podcast episode is just gonna be like, all hail North Korea now. Do not disrespect.
Anyways, yeah, my mom's traveled. I've traveled. I'm gonna travel again.
I'm looking into the logistics of going to Texas for the March 30th regional because we got a bunch of news at this nationals. They've announced serialized Omnimons.
Yes, with the serial number takes up a lot of real estate.
I don't like the serial number space.
Yeah.
It's on a like black pixelated background.
Yeah.
It could have been done better for sure.
Oh, I need to self-plagiarize for a second and just say, why is the Digimon Liberator webcomic making fun of the Digimon card game and saying, imagine a wild fantasy world where a Digimon sim existed and the players were allowed to use it.
Okay, I don't know if you two were around back then, but Bandai actually attempted a metaverse where you would play Digimon with people online, and you had a little sprite, and you'd walk around a classroom.
Yeah.
Or I guess it wasn't a classroom, but it looked like a classroom.
Yeah.
And you'd sit down at a table with another person, and then it would turn on your webcams, and you'd play cards physically over webcam.
Which is a wild like abstraction. I told you that's what Arc System Works
Yes.
does. They create a virtual arcade before you can actually play the fighting game against each other.
Why invest the time in that instead of just investing the time in making the game?
I don't know, and it's almost always awful. But hey, listen, I can fish in Guilty Gear Strive, so it was worth it.
Another highlight of the weekend. I am now officially part of the unofficial Digimon. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
Huang Zero.
It's unaffiliated with Digimon. I'm now an official part of a simulator.
Yeah. A
It's
simulation.
not an airplane simulator, I'll tell you that.
Just say what it is.
And it's
There
cool.
is a Digimon simulator, automated simulator that's being tested by Huang Zero. There's public YouTube videos about it. We are not so big that like, oh no, Arata Sonata mentioned the simulator, it's getting taken down.
That's not what I'm saying. I just don't want to add the word Digimon to it in case there's implications with it, if you understand what I mean.
Is it not being advertised as a Digimon simulator?
I'm not sure. There's no Digimon assets in the game. There's no Digimon assets in the
Oh,
game
I see. You have to import them.
yourself.
I see.
They would never supply that kind of artwork because that is trademarked and copyrighted.
And
But they can't control what you do yourself.
Sure, why not? Okay, whatever. There's a
does that mean I can change the
Yep,
artwork?
custom
or
art.
not? Oh my god.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really exciting.
Oh my god.
Now, someone did.
I feel like us talking around it, it's like we all know what it is, and also
You
we're
don't have to say-
unrelated.
You don't have to stay on it. We can just talk about it now. You don't have to stay on me touching around.
Because
with
I'm
it.
gonna have to edit that in.
No, you don't.
I have to edit in what it is.
No, you don't. You're making this take up way too much time. We could just be talking about it.
Sure, whatever. There will be a simulator for some hypothetical game.
That's pretty cool.
I tested it out. It's fun.
Yeah.
They're still working out some
I'm
parts
kidding.
of it.
Yeah.
I've definitely misplayed on Drazel 100.
And it's nice because it'll have. I won't have to explain to people that Bond of Friendship can unsuspend twice if there's a Gabumon in its sources.
That's so fun.
It's just basic stuff that I won't have to explain to people anymore. And I won't have
asked
to
you
deal
about
with.
that.
Hypothetically, once it's all sorted, but I mean, it's gonna take a while to sort, and every new card is gonna add complexity. And you said that there's a champion. There's one hero that's editing it like 15 times in a day, right?
This person's putting in work.
Yeah. Whoever's hot fixing the simulator is kind of a hero.
They've got a Google Doc spreadsheet, and they're working everything out. They're all. I don't have that much love for any content creators, but mad respect to them doing this for the community.
I think it's a cool thing to try to create. Whether or not it ends up being a successful venture or not is a different thing, but I think it's good that somebody's trying.
Someone developed this for Lorcana. Same concept. They didn't put any of the artwork in the game. You have to import it yourself.
That's because all the mechanics are just magic.
Yeah. And they have a ranking system and matchmaking. If this sim gets that, I will play it like crazy. Right now, I'm excited for it, but BT15 is not out yet, and this kind of goes back to real life too. Outside of the sim, I got back from nationals. I don't really have a huge desire to play the current format of Digimon. I'm excited to play BT15, and I'm excited to brew and test decks, but a lot of what drives me to play Digimon, I think, is competition.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have that drive right now. We're 3 weeks away from BT15 and also an Ultimate coming up, so I'm getting there. But right now, I'm just so ready to play Pal World.
Shut
I'm
up.
so ready to play Pal World.
I was gonna say about BT15. I think I God, I'm getting myself confused. But I think I mentioned Offpod. I've not bought any EX5. I can't justify buying any EX5. Half the good shit from EX5 is gonna be banned by the time BT15 launches. So kind of feel like I'm almost skipped a set of Digimon.
You did.
Okay,
skip a
bro,
set
I've
of
done a
Digimon.
lot of that.
Sorry?
I've done a lot of skipping sets of.
But you're gonna be
Digimon.
back for Terriermon.
Don't spoil it.
Are you gonna win the green only event?
Oh,
The
I'm
green
so
only
excited!
event?
I'm so excited for these.
What are you
The-
gonna play in the green only event?
Which set is it happening in?
Shivamon.
ET15.
In 15?
I'll play Shivamon.
Yeah. You play Shivamon?
I'm definitely putting
You
Quartzmon
want
in
to
there.
win because it's got an insanely nice alt art of the Terriermon Lotmon option. I think it's
Of the double typhoon?
yep, and it's a very nice alt art.
Yeah.
Um,
I like that. I like that deck a lot.
I don't think that deck will actually be legal for the event.
No, it's not out until like March.
Well, this event runs. It's called the Spring Break event, and it runs from like March to April.
I mean, I'll show up.
I
Oh,
kind
I
of
know
want to
what they're
run Gigimon.
It's such a wide open world because suddenly you only have to worry about green removal,
Yeah,
and that's non-existent.
yeah.
Dude, Grandel Soul.
Well, yeah. So suddenly,
Dude, every deck is gonna have 4 Quartzmons.
probably
That's gonna be fucked.
Quartzmon is good,
Quartzmon's so good,
It's
and we're
gonna-
both gonna lock down each other's boards and stare at each other.
and slowly raise something out of
So
raising.
you know what? Actually, you know what the truth is? Because that's the likely outcome, I think Nidhogg becomes good.
Nidhogg was good during Ultimate Cups when Gloomlord was dominating. People were playing Nidhoggs.
Sure, but I'm saying specifically if I'm gonna be dealing with against a player that's also running 4 Quartzmons.
Well, that's my point. Is that Gloomlord players were running Nidhoggs because the opponent's board would always be suspended.
Yeah.
So because you'd be facing a large majority of Gloomlord players. So in a green meta where a large majority of everyone's Digimon are going to be suspended, Nidhogg just makes sense.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
I think there's a lot of cool, interesting options because Heavy Leomon's out now.
Yeah.
Gloomlord is obviously a
Get some
force.
fortitude.
And Goromon.
Rosemon puts in a lot
Rosemon.
of work against Bloomlord specifically.
Shivamon.
Shivamon's irrelevant.
Shivamon less so.
I could bring back my EX1 insects.
Green Hybrid.
Green Hybrid, I think, has a lot of relevance.
I'm just naming all the green decks I like.
I,
Rust Tyrannomon.
I theory crafted a green hybrid deck last night, 2 nights ago. That with just like, I like Mirage because it kind of taxes your opponent.
Yeah.
And it's something similar to that where I had a green hybrid deck, got Quantumon at the top, got Ebonwumon at the top,
Yep, a Bonwumon's good.
and Shivamon as well. I was like,
This is a sick deck.
just I want to make it as annoying as possible for my opponent to play the game.
Sounds awesome.
And so I was,
You could toss in Ancient Troymon if you're really cooking.
that's true too. I just think there's so many cool green megas that just say, I'm gonna screw with you right now.
Yeah, we talked about the lack of design space or like the wide design space of green. Sometimes it works in its favor because you get a ton of cool card ideas that just like don't really fit in any color, so they just got tossed into green.
Yeah.
Bro, I can't believe they did me dirty with that fucking Metal Greymon.
Which one?
BT8 Metal Greymon. I always talk about this shit.
Oh, the
It's
fact
like
that
you
it's
want
Just
all
skip-
green.
skip suspending it. Just fucking go over it. It's like,
Yeah,
come on,
swinging
man.
to unsuspend is definitely
It's so
messing with
dumb.
insects.
That shit needs to. Why is that not green before anything else? Literally anything
because
else.
they need to suspend. Suspending is an effect.
But
that,
bro,
like,
green has always been about mowing over your
it
opponent's
hasn't.
big guy.
I really think that you like to imagine that green has always just been green insects. Like EX1 insects are like the epitome of green. But green,
I do think that green has always felt like it had the identity of piercing.
sure, I agree with that.
It
But
has
he's
more
not
piercing
referring to
cards.
piercing. He's referring to swinging into unsuspended, which was never really a green
No,
idea.
but it's
Chaosmon at
it's
most.
the same idea, right? Where like having the option to swing unsuspended is like the same thing as suspending.
Yeah,
the
what
card.
he's saying is the whole identity of green is swinging over your opponent's Digimon, and the only way to do that at the time, was suspend them. But then they said, Metal Greymon, skip that step.
I don't know.
You have it easy.
I was a part of this conversation before. I agree with it to a certain extent. I think he's taking it to an extreme because I think that
Jeremiah
realistic.
takes everything to an extreme.
Yeah,
What the fuck?
I just think that he wants to believe that green was designed to be like big body beatdown, whereas like I joined the game in BT5. That's relatively early in the game's life, and at the time, it already felt like very focused on suspension control. Like that, like there was a suspension controlled green, and then there was, big body beatdown green. And it's like, yeah, it's okay for one color to have different
I
branches.
thought green has always had that at the center of its design, though, is like just getting into a big guy.
But
quickly
again,
and
I think
having him smash.
I think again, I'm saying that I think that is one arm of green that usually is under the insect banner, but vegetation green has not really been exactly that for a long time.
It does. Well, I think that
Maybe not just vegetation, but just like there's other branches of what green are.
when
I
I
feel
think
like you're
of
focusing too much on the archetype instead of just like.
I just think
It
that
doesn't
like
actually feel like there's
I-
that many branches of what green is.
you don't think so? I think that like it's like there's suspension control and then there's big body beatdown.
I think there's like green is like
Yes.
efficiency and strong like fighters. Like,
If we're going back, if you go back to the olden days, green was very focused on turboing out a level 6.
yeah.
You turbo out a mega,
Yes,
and you were the fastest one to do it.
you definitely efficiency is huge. Yeah.
And you were supposed to control the board with that mega. Green is in a different spot nowadays, and we just have to accept it.
Yeah.
And even now, green is still like really high in efficiency. I mean, I think about Bloomlord in that you can literally just tap Agitar to play a guy.
Yeah.
You can just like do that for free. And then let's like, oh, I'm gonna digivolve, all my stuff suspended. Well, I'm still gonna unsuspend myself. Oh, and you know, while I'm at it, I'm gonna gain some memory too.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna gain a bunch of power and DP. Like it's still very focused on like I'd say a pillar strategy of like set up a big guy, but now it has the opportunity to go wide by using the rest of its efficiency.
Yeah.
Green has always just been about like an efficient path to victory.
I'm gonna say something controversial.
Isn't it one set that's been efficient?
Ian's gonna say something controversial.
Yeah, because it's just one set that was Digizorb, and it's just the fact is
Well,
it was
one
unbalanced
set.
powerful. No, was it one?
like green just utilized Digisorption for a long time.
How many sets had Digisorption as a key mechanic?
As soon as Blossomon was printed, it was a key mechanic in green.
Was it?
It's
I thought almost all of the Digisorption cards came in at like one time.
No, the Blossomons have always been around.
Because there was a level 4, so there's the Argomons.
Almost none of that is really good though.
There's Argomons and there's the Ceresmon line, right? That's
Only the level 5s are actually worth running
yes.
because that was your biggest choke point.
Yeah, but once you have 2 of them, then it's like you're good.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is from that point on, although Argomon was limited, Blossomon was just huge in green decks from then on.
Yes.
And the reality is that green just didn't have a huge hold on the meta.
Yeah.
So
The
yellow
efficiency was there, but the power was.
Well, I think
the power was there, but then it phased out.
I think the big thing is that like what Blossomon and Argomon represented is kind of what Jet Sylphie represented.
Exactly.
Where it's just like here's an ultimate that you are going to run and build around because it's just so good, and whatever you do after it doesn't really matter. It lets you get to an ultimate for 0.
So green has, to me, always felt about efficiency. Even look at green hybrids. You're digivolving your hybrid for 1.
Yeah.
It's
Crazy.
green has always just been efficiency.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily the reward at the top end. It's just the fact that you can reach it efficiently just inherently means that your mega just has to be the thing you build around in green.
Exactly.
So I was actually, we said this for a while, that there was an awkward thing about green because of HPD. Because HPD was, in my eyes, the reason why green had such a high number of 5 to Digivolve megas.
Yep.
And we were in this awkward boat where HPD was hit, but all of the megas we were getting released in North America still cost 5 to Digivolve.
I think at points in time in the game, it felt like Bandai has been punishing colors. So we went through a period where it felt like Bandai was punishing green for having been so good with HPD and its Digisorption.
Yes.
And then it felt like they were punishing yellow for having dominated with War Greymon, Lord Nightmon, and yellow hybrids.
Yes.
And so I think that's just what it felt like with green, whereas they were just punishing.
They were just putting us in our place. They
Yeah.
said we grew too tall.
We were in the
But then-
timeout corner
But then they printed Bloomlord and
in
Hydramon.
BT10. an EX3.
I guess that is pretty far. I mean, for my jumping on point was BT8, and like, I mean, I guess, you know, Imperial is like a blue deck, but it's green too.
Not really though.
There are green cards in it. What color is Stingmon?
Green.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all it needs.
Name all the solo green cards you run in Imperial's run.
HPD.
Stingmon
Stingmon.
and HPD. Yeah. Stingmon and HPD 5
There you
are the
go.
only
That's all you need.
solo green cards.
Green deck. No, but it's like from BT8 to BT9 where you had Grandis, and then BT10 Bloomlord. It's like green was eating good for a while for like when I was seeing.
It didn't feel
And
like
Shivamon came out in BT8, so
BT9 Grandis wasn't that great.
neither was Shivamon. I still like
You
it.
think it just got better on once it got to?
I think a lot of its like power level came from the fact that it did very well into Black Hole Greymon X in
Dude,
BT11.
Grandis is so sick. The fact that Grandis feels like the one deck that like knew what it was and just fucking owned it. Like everyone looked at where Garurumon is like, oh no, it has a lot of different steps you can take in how you OTK. Or same with Alpha. Alphamon requires so many choices to me, babe, that it's so incredible. And I'm like, dog, Grandis just I'm big bug.
I
Big
hate
smack.
that Jeremiah's definition of what makes a deck interesting is not its mechanics, it's whether the main guy on front of it looks like he's a big strong guy or not.
No, it's not about that. It's just I like that Grandis was like no bullshit. Like I'm just trying to beat the shit out of you, dude.
Also, Bloomlord wasn't great in BT10.
Not in BT10, but BT10 was like Cross was really really good.
For 2
Cross was
weeks.
like really really good. Hey man, come on.
For 2 weeks.
Yeah,
you got
and,
Cross.
and then where
For-
Garurumon
Okay,
showed up.
for
If,
2
like,
whole weeks.
Talking about green decks, Bloomlord didn't really start putting in work until BT12.
Well, it needed Hydramon. It was really
But it got
missing.
Hydramon almost immediately after. It got an EX3. But it didn't do
It
anything
was
at
played-
nationals.
It was played in the
At locals.
Local
My bad.
meta is the only meta that matters, dude.
My bad,
I'm not
bro.
going nationals here.
In BT12, I think it was potentially one of the best decks in the format.
It wasn't BT.
But it wasn't until BT12. Same thing with Blue Flare. Blue Flare had some spots at nationals, but it came out in BT10 and it didn't feel like it was in a good position until EX4, until it got that new support.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And so Bloomlord was kind of in the same position in my eyes.
Well, we've said
Still a
it
good
before. We've said it before. I think we're going to have to commit ourselves to having a let's talk about green Digimon dedicated episode.
Yeah.
Because it seems like we keep coming back to this idea
always
of
look
what
at
is
green.
green and
Green's
what we want it to be.
Green's
but-
the most alpha color.
But I
dude.
think for tonight, I think we're probably gonna call it on that chat on green because we've kind of bounced around a lot of things.
I talked about LA.
We talked about LA.
We talked about North Korea.
We talked about North Korea.
And we talked about
What-
Greenland.
I
We
like
talked about Greenland. The 3 locations we care about. So I think I'm gonna say thank you for listening to the Erotisnata podcast.
Wait, what happened? What did we decide on for the new outro?
Oh, thank you for asking that. I thought I was going to have to ask that.
Okay, well, what do you
I've been
want to
away
say?
for a while.
So I mean, we've been saying Nightmons.
It can't be Nightmon. I'll die.
Fighter of the Daemons.
I don't know. It doesn't need to be anything special, guys. It's just that me saying Night Guys was just like, all right, it's definitive endpoint. It's not like I'm tied to it.
What about thank you for listening?
We are
And you know what
so-
we should really do? We should really say, if you're listening to this not the day it releases, hopefully we will have some socials up. So check out the Hamilton Discord and then follow us on our socials.
Well, don't.
We should do like
But I agree with you. I do think that we should set up some socials. And
And then Jeremiah should do 1 second of work outside of the podcast hours.
this needs to be our last episode where we have this discussion about how we're ending the episode.
I didn't think I wasn't gonna bring it up.
brought it
Jeremiah decided to bring
I
it up.
brought it up.
All right. For tonight, thank you for listening to the Erotisnata podcast. It might be the final time you hear it, so enjoy it.
No, I don't want to hear it.
No, I don't want to hear it either.
It's good to be back, everyone.
Night, guys.
Thank you for listening.
No, he said it.
Oh my God, he said it. All right, night, guys.